Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time visiting us, my name is Mark and this is my Daddy Diary episode 42. It's almost Christmas, it's almost Christmas, in the sense that it's almost December. Can you tell I'm finally getting a bit excited? I'll be honest, this year I have not been looking forward to Christmas. Or should I say, it's not that I'm not looking forward to it, it's just I've not been that excited or ready for it. I mentioned the other week that plans have been a bit slow because we've had so much on, and obviously money's different this year because I'm not at work and all that other stuff. You know, Christmas has been kind of on the back burner, hasn't really been a concern, but as we're hurtling towards December, it really is becoming a priority. So I am starting now, at last, to get excited, which is really good because Christmas has always been my favourite time of year. Anyway, that's a ramble about the fact that I opened the video by singing at you. Nevertheless, I did just... I have no idea what I'm on this week, sorry. I just wanted to quickly put a reminder out there that I am planning to do a Q&A video at some point in December. But obviously for a Q&A session to work, I need to have questions. So if you have any questions about our family life or about Sophie or maybe something about Dad and Mark that you want to ask, pop it in the comments down below and I will add them into the Q&A video, which like I say, I'm hoping to film quite early on in December. Also on that, and I cannot believe I'm about to say this because I've been back and forth on this all week as to whether or not I'm actually going to do it. A little while back, one of my very good friends and fellow vloggers, Charlotte in Wonderland, and I'm going to pop a link down below, suggested doing Vlogmas. And to be honest, I didn't really know what Vlogmas was, so I had to go and look. And essentially, it's a video every day in the run-up to Christmas. Now, because of the way I film videos, I felt like, and the way I edit videos, I was worried and concerned about doing a video every single day because that's a lot of work. A lot. But it can be kind of like more bite-sized chunks and around the idea of us preparing for Christmas. So, stop rambling, Mark. I am intending to at least attempt Vlogmas 2019. I think I'm crazy. So if anyone's got any ideas of anything you'd like to see in Vlogmas, so it needs to be Christmas related, pop it down below in the comments. Obviously, I'm going to do certain things that you'd kind of expect, such as I will do another time lapse of putting up the Christmas tree and decorating. Again, because we're in a new home, it's kind of everything's different with that. So I'm having to kind of do everything different to how I would. For years, I've done it almost the same way, barring a colour scheme. Now I'm having to do everything a little bit different trees in different places and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm rambling, I apologise. But yeah, if you've got any ideas of what you would like to see us do for Vlogmas, pop them down in the comments below and I will see if we can make any of them work. I do have a few things that I'm going to be doing, like I've got in my head that I want to do, but yeah, any ideas would be greatly received. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit different, something a little bit different on the channel in the run-up to Christmas. So that's what I've been working on. I do have also another project that I'm working on, but that's not going to be ready until the new year. So I'm very much looking forward, hopefully, to announcing that early on in the new year as a kind of a new for 2020 type thing on the channel. See, now I've rambled about what I'm doing for ages, so I'm going to move on. How was Sophie been this week? She's been wonderful, always, of course. One of the things I did want to quickly mention, and it's on that kind of Christmas tack, we had the conversation about advent calendars. We have finally bought her one, but there was a whole conversation around whether or not we should buy a just over 1-year-old a chocolate advent calendar, or whether we should go and get one that's got maybe little toys in it, or an alternative to a sort of a more traditional chocolate one, or do we get one of the boxes where you put your own things in? We kind of went back and forth on it. In the end, we have settled on getting a Kinder chocolate one, which the theory being was that Kinder tends to be like more milk in the chocolate, so it'll be less rich. I don't know I don't know whether it's a conversation that I even want to have about whether or not we should be giving our kids chocolate every day, especially when they're just like barely over a year old. I dare say she probably isn't going to have the chocolate every single day, and we'll just keep it in the fridge until such point when she can have it, because she is only just over a year old and she really won't actually know. But we thought we'd get her an advent calendar because it's a tradition. But yeah, I was kind of having this whole conversation in my head and with Mark about whether or not we even wanted to do the chocolate thing, and whether in this day and age, with everything we know about kind of obesity and children's health and all those things, whether we should be supporting that kind of chocolate advent calendar thing now. Before everyone blows up in my comments, oh hang on, there's only about 5 people watching. You're not going to blow up in the comments. But I don't want to cause a whole, like, I'm not saying they should stop doing chocolate advent calendars or anything like that. I just think that there is a question, and it's down to each individual parent as to whether or not they feel a chocolate advent calendar is appropriate for their kids. We always had them as kids, but then again, you find yourself going, well, we had this when we was a kid, and we had that. Yeah, but the world has moved on. We've learnt a lot more. It's not the same. So you can't keep going, well, we did this as kids, and we did a lot of things when we were kids that you wouldn't dream of allowing nowadays. And I'm not even going to get into that. That's a whole different story. So I thought I'd mention it because I thought it could be an interesting discussion. So if you have any thoughts on it, pop it in the comments down below. And yeah, let's have a chat, because I'm just curious really as to what other parents think. I also wanted to mention, just in terms of her eating, we're having some real challenges with dinner times in particular. She's fine for breakfast, she is fine for lunch, and then at dinner time, which Mark does when he gets home from work, she gets very, very tense and upset. Now, we've been giving her the sort of the pre-prepared dinners, the pots, I guess. We were using Ella's Kitchen. We haven't used them for quite some time now. We've actually been using either Little Angels, which is Asda's own, or we've been using, I think it was Cow and Gate. Those were the two that we used the most. And to begin with, she was absolutely fine on them. Now, she really gets so angry with it, and part of it we know is because she wants to feed herself. You give her the spoon and she's fine, but the problem she's having at the moment, because she's not quite there yet, she'll often go to scoop the food, not get anything on the spoon properly, and then put it in her mouth and realise there's nothing there, and then start getting more worked up and more angry because she's not actually feeding herself. So then you try and help her by holding the spoon or holding her hand with the spoon, and the minute you try to get involved, all hell breaks loose and she's like, no, I don't want you to help. And so it's a bit of a challenge. I mean, we have found over the last few days having her dessert at the ready, normally having that to the side, and occasionally, which is quite bizarre, if you give her a couple of mouthfuls of the dessert, she will then divert back to the main meal and finish it. She will clear it. And it's really unusual, because obviously we kind of don't really want to do the whole jumping between main and dessert, because I don't want that to be a pattern or a trend that carries on later into her life. But the difference being is, if we don't try and give her that little bit of dessert, or if we try and put this kind of, if we have tried to put in that rule of, look, if you don't eat your main, you're not having your sweet. But I don't think that's working, because she'll just go without both then. But if we just give her a couple of mouthfuls of the dessert, she literally goes straight back to the main meal, clears the lot. So is it really that big a deal if she has a couple of mouthfuls of dessert mid-meal? No. But it is quite challenging, and like I say, my concern will be, again, I'm always kind of thinking, but what precedent does this set? What kind of behaviour is this encouraging? Will it continue on into the future? So I'm always kind of trying to keep that 2 steps ahead. I'm always reminding myself of those things, that everything we do now has an impact later. So maybe I'm overthinking it, maybe I'm worrying too much, which is highly likely. That is what I do, that's who I am, so I have to make allowances for that and just work it, you know? So I'm curious with you guys that are parents, again, I'm asking you a lot of questions this week. If you've experienced that or had challenges with that evening feed or any meal feed, how did you work around it? Do you think it's an issue if you're giving dessert at a time that really isn't dessert time, or do you think we're being too relaxed about it and maybe we do need to be stricter, and she'll learn very quickly that, well, if I don't eat this, I don't get that, and therefore I go hungry. Do you know what I mean? I'm curious, I'd like your opinions and thoughts. Obviously, the decision is ours ultimately, but I am just kind of curious to get some outside input, get some outside thoughts on that one, because it has been a bit challenging, especially because she's been absolutely brilliant all day. Like I say, she'll eat her breakfast fine, she'll have her lunch absolutely fine. In fact, she really enjoys lunch, and she'll be really well behaved, and she'll be really happy and bouncy and all of that stuff that she usually is. And then Mark gets in from work, and within 20 minutes, it's like a complete change. All of a sudden, she's really upset about everything in the world. And I don't know if that's food related. It tends to coincide with when we then try and put her into a high chair to have her food. It's tough, it's challenging, it's hard work. And I find myself questioning it all the time. So please do drop it down in the comments if you've got any thoughts on it, or if you want to share your experiences. I'd be really happy to read them. See if we can weather this one. It's going to be interesting. And then just finally, just very quickly really, in terms of her walking, I was, you know, you do the usual kind of hands under the arms, walking along thing. She was actually taking proper steps and watching her feet to try physically going. And and you can't see what I was doing with my feet there, I was walking. She was definitely getting the idea of walking, and obviously she's not quite got the strength there yet, but she is getting ever closer. I noticed the other day she was leaning up on the sofa and she kind of turned and tentatively kind of launched herself towards me, as in she was trying to get between 2 points. And I know that that's a tactic that some people use, is to literally like gently move furniture further and further away once they're going between the 2 pieces. If you move them further away, it'll encourage them to start stepping across. I'm convinced that she's going to be walking by Christmas. So now we'll just wait and see. So it's like less than a month to go, so who knows? That was everything that I wanted to sort of get down on video this week. So that wraps it all up. Obviously, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then do please give us a thumbs up. And if you would like to continue to see content from us, whether it's the Daddy Diaries or our Inspired by Disney series or our adventure series that we're doing, please by all means hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to pop some questions down in the comments for the Q&A session, and to hold on for just a moment if you want to see some clips of Sophie. As always, I've put some clips at the end, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!